This week, we mark 2 years since the famed war victory that ended the 3-decade-old blight of terrorism on our soil. And the past 24 months have seen massive transformations in our base landscape, which has been eager to catch up on years of lost time. But some commentators have pointed out that investment, especially FDI, hasn't been as spectacular as expected. Savitri Rodrigo spoke with Priyani Ratnagopal, country head of IIFL Securities Ceylon, to find out how confident she is in Sri Lanka's post-war credentials and prospects.
Welcome to Benchmark, Priyani, and congratulations on your appointment as head of IIFL Securities Ceylon. So, how has business been thus far?
As I said, we started only last year. We are already profitable, which is very good. We are having immense support from our group companies. And then they have a huge access to the global network, and we are finding that we are having a lot of clients coming down. That is not only from India but from across the board.
So this optimism is a reflection of what Sri Lanka is all about?
Yes, definitely. You know, after coming out of a war, 30 years war, there's as you know, we did a Sri Lanka conference which had the Golden Island, because even IIFL, being a foreign company, came in here feeling that there's gold dust, and they are going out canvassing and selling, saying, this is a great opportunity and we should come now before it gets too late. Because I think they're not too late, but basically that the opportunity is there now and you could make greater profits.
So how confident are you in Sri Lanka's post-war credentials, and in your opinion, are we making the most of our peacetime dividends?
Yes, I think so, because as you see, GDP growth is 8%. Again, 30 years was, it was averaging about 4.9%. Inflation is 6%. Again, that have come off at a high of about 28%. Interest rates are double digits, 18 to 20%, is now again in single digits. Our foreign reserves have gone up to 7 billion. Positive inward remittances have also actually increased.
The Colombo Bourse has been one of the best performers in the world in the last 12 months or so, but of course we've had some temporary blips. However, can we keep this positive momentum going? What is your assessment of the Colombo Bourse in the short and the medium term?
The growth potential, the growth that has taken place, we cannot be sustained.
You're saying it cannot be sustained?
For the short term,
okay.
In the short term, because the market has grown over 300%, so that growth cannot be maintained. But saying that, we will definitely see growth. We are having corporate earnings growth coming up with 35% year on year for the next few years. We are forecasting that. We are also seeing a lot of these new IPOs coming in and listing that will actually broad base the market and bring in new money for these. We cannot have this existing monies and liquidities. Market cap to GDP is currently 45%. In India, it's over 100%. So actually, even in China, it's like 72%. And, in the region, so we have a long way to grow. And for that to happen, actually, we should have new money coming in.
Priyani, the UN expert panel's report. Now, would this affect investor sentiment in any way?
Yes, it may have, but I think, sometimes you cannot go on media reports and things like that as well. I would go on looking at the companies and seeing how they are going to perform, and we are seeing corporate earnings coming through, like over the last year, corporate earnings have been over 100%, very positive. So I think when one invests, one has to look at that angle of it, and do work, look at the companies whether there is fundamental growth in the companies, and then come in and invest.
Now, IIFL Securities Ceylon intends to, may I quote, become a key promoter in positioning Sri Lanka as a frontier market for foreign institutional investment. And like you mentioned, your Discover Sri Lanka Investment Forum, which you held last year, amply demonstrated this undertaking. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you're planning to take this forward? What is your modus operandi?
Like I said, we started this operation only last year. We've been operational from August. We had actually the conference prior to that, and we had a very good response. We had over 35 global fund managers from all over the world, US, London. The response is very positive. We also took them for a visit to visit the port where the development was taking place, and they were very excited about everything, you know, because we felt that we had to show, not only showcase the corporates, that they must get a feel and a sense of what is happening, see that the growth is actually taking place and not that they're just standing in a podium or listening to somebody talk. So I think our visit to the port was very positive to them.
We take a quick break now for some messages from our sponsors, and when we return, we ask Priyani Ratnagopal for her take on how to attract new investors to our shores. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us. You are watching the Big Picture Business Program, and we continue with more views and insights from Priyani Ratnagopal.
So Priyani, we are heading for a record year of IPOs. In fact, you're one of those people quoted in the newspapers as recommending one of the biggest IPOs we have seen this year for Expo Lanka. How do you view this IPO blitz we are seeing?
Currently, we have had about 20 IPOs. Actually, they have been the smaller ones. They've raised about 80 million US dollars, you know, which is quite small, 8 billion rupees. I think we will now start getting the larger ones coming in, and these would actually require a lot of the long-term investors to come in, and we have to be very careful that actually we get long-term investors and not people who think they just punt in the market. Naturally, you'll have that as well. I mean, you know, you'll have both sides to it, but basically we need to get good institutional investors who will take the ride, you know, and have the confidence to be with the company for a few years, and then they can actually reap their profits. We are now seeing quite a few of the, you know, good corporates coming out. Also, we will see government listings coming out shortly, which is also positive, and also, as you know, the regulatory rule requires the finance companies and the insurance companies also to start listing. So this should broad base the market as well as increase the market cap. Liquidity has been one of the main concerns for the foreigners to come in, you know.
So does this provide you with enough ammunition to convince your clients that Sri Lanka's capital market is buzzing?
Absolutely, because currently otherwise the liquidity is not there for the others to come in, you know. And the valuations of the existing things are quite high. Saying that I do think that some of the corporates are good value. I'm not saying no, but it gives a bigger opportunity when you bring in new areas, you know, new sectors into the market, new opportunities.
Given your networking potential in the giant Indian market and also India's BPO successes, would you be looking to bring similar investors into Sri Lanka?
We are currently having a lot of Indian investors coming in. They are looking at private equity investments, they are looking at joint ventures, they are looking at infrastructure projects with the government, you know, private-public participation. So we are seeing a lot of interest in that area, you know, which is very, very positive. And I think they are seeing the growth into tourism. There are people coming in, they are looking at quite a lot of the lands, you know, and looking at hotels, top end as well as sort of medium end. So I think there's a lot of interest from India coming in.
So how prepared are we as a nation to provide the necessary infrastructure and the resources to these outsourcers?
Infrastructure is one of the key areas, and unless you have the infrastructure ready, most of the people, especially for tourism, which is the easiest area to move forward and the fastest area to come forward, you know, to develop, they require the infrastructure. But fortunately for us, the government is focusing on that area and giving that a high priority. So they are sort of, the donor agencies are also giving us funding, and the roads are being done, the ports are being done, power, water, so the infrastructure actually is being supported, and I feel very confident and very happy that that is one of the areas that the government is initially putting main focus on, which will bring the foreign investors in.
So like we all know, the banking sector's prospects are bright, in fact, because it is a key driver of Sri Lanka's infrastructure development program. In fact, this year, most of the banks have put out some of the best results ever. Their NPLs have reduced, and even, you know, the likes of HNB, Combank, Nations Trust, and even Sampath Bank have boasted high levels of capitalization. Are we right in speculating that the banking sector will continue to be amongst those safest buy options?
I think yes, because naturally the banking sector will be the driver of the economy. You know, if the economy to grow, the banking sector will be the first to have to get, you know, lending, and the expansion of the economy will take place through the banking sector. Banking sector actually will go out and raise capital, like we've just seen with HNB happening. That again will give a lot of potential for people who are coming in for the long term to invest in the country.
And that concludes our interview with Priyani Ratnagopal. It's time now for a quick break for some messages from our sponsors. When we come back, we explore how upcoming new IPOs could affect our market liquidity. Stay with us.